Greetings and salutations, Geo nerds! So what's this amazing 1950s comedy about heroes in a boat with big torpedo-y things on the side got to do with this thumping great big church that never got built in the valley, made out of artificial stone by Dewey the Builder, and Brisbane's busiest and most awesome railway station? Hang on, Geo nerds, it's going to be a wild ride. Let's find out together. So we'll start at the very beginning.
A very good place to start.
With this guy, His Excellency Sir James Duhigg, CMG, Call Me God. Then later on, KCMG, Kindly Call Me God. He had a vision to build a church, a very big church, in the valley called the Holy Name Cathedral, which didn't get built in the end. For many reasons, but mainly because of poor financial management. But anyway, they were going to make it out of this stuff, and this was a good idea. This is an artificial stone called Benedict stone. From the United States, a few buildings around Brisbane. This is the Manor Apartments. It was actually the Colonial Mutual Life building, who were shareholders in the enterprise, I might add. Most of their buildings around Australia are built out of this stuff. And it stood the test of time. I've been in there recently. It's a bit flaky, but it's still there. Anyway, they made it here, over at Bowen Hills. And here's the factory, built in the 1920s. It was going well. They were building stone for other buildings as well. It's a lot of it used around Brisbane. They managed to get the foundation stone of the Holy Name Cathedral down, but they ran out of money. And they ran out of money because they needed £700,000 to build this cathedral, and they had 70,000. So they were pretty short of cash. They had investments that could have seen them through, but of course in the 1920s there was the World Depression, and Catholics lost quite a lot of their investments. They just didn't pay out. So in the end, the cathedral, they got the foundations built. They got the crypt built, and that was the end of it. And the Benedict Stone factory folded sort of in the early 1930s. It didn't last very long. But and I'm quite sure the Bish would have got on the line to the Pope and said, hey, Papa, Pius the 11th, how about splashing some of that Vatican ching-ching over this way so that we can finish this cathedral? And I think you know what the response would have been.
You serious? There's the door.
So what is Benedict stone? Well, Benedict stone's basically a mixture of crushed stone and cement with a few secret herbs and spices thrown in for colour and durability. You're seeing it go past up here. This is the Manor Apartments in Brisbane. Used to be the Colonial Mutual building as it was built, and they were involved in the whole Benedict stone thing. They used it around Australia in a lot of their buildings. It's a really nice looking stone. So initially it was made from crushed Brisbane tuff, and from around 1937 onwards it was found that using crushed granite, which was actually from the granite quarry over at Sanford Road, was about 20% stronger, like from 5,000 up to over 7,000 psi in compressive strength. So they used granite from then on, but there was a time when they used both. And I think that's what we're looking at here now. If you look inside this, you can see bits of granite and bits of tuff, so, it's rock. It was pretty good stuff. They actually considered using it in the University of Queensland instead of that Helen sandstone that's there. But the geology professor decided it was a bit too porous, it soaked up water, and he was concerned that would leach calcium carbonate out of it over the years and leave white streaks and maybe weaken it, change its colour at least. And using Helidon sandstone in a veneer, which is what they did at UQ, was about the same price, so they went with that instead. And I'm glad they did, because it is beautiful, it really is. But it was used in Perth and Adelaide, as you'll see in these buildings here. And all those buildings are still there. So, yeah, it obviously was strong enough, but it did fade. It's not as bright as it used to be, but we don't have colour photography from then, so we don't know. Anyway, let's have a look at exactly where all this was happening. Well, folks, here we are over at the Benedict Stone factory, and just coming down, this is Bowen Hills Railway Station, the old Bowen Hills Railway Station, which is to the south of Campbell Street, no longer there. And yeah, so let's have a look at this. This is from 1895. So here's a map that shows us the old Bowen Hills Railway Station, and of course, that's where our factory was going to end up. Here we are in the 1920s, and not a great map this, but yeah, it's all I got. And you can see the Bowen Hills Railway Station is there, and that's our spot there. She's a bit beyond the resolution. This is quite a lot better. This is 1927. This is a beautiful map. And there it is there, Rosetta Street, and you can see the Bowen Hills Railway Station and the what they used to call the Campbell Street Tunnel. This one's from a little later. This is from 1940 something, and it's a beautiful map as well. You can see the Shell companies there now, not the Imperial Company. Rosetta Street, there's our factory. And here's an aerial photograph. And you can see Bowen Hill Station and the overbridge and the tunnel, and there's our factory right there. And that line going off to the right there, which is also in this photo, this is from 1947. And you'll notice there's some structure on the end there. We'll get to that. Let's have a look at what happened when the Bish decided to stop making stone, which was in the late 30s. He decided, well, this is over for now because World War II, and they ran out of money, but mainly World War II. Let's see what happened. Well, folks, it's 1942. That's the Brisbane River, the New Farm Reach, and there's some boats in this river that aren't usually there. You'll see a large ship there. That's a submarine tender, and of course next to it is of course a submarine. This is the New Farm submarine base that was around during World War II. And here it is here, up to about 1947. Submarines, American submarines coming in, loading up, but not just submarines. Also, these guys, PT boats, perhaps not PT 73, but these PT boats came in from all over the Pacific, and they'd reload and get overhauled here and whatever. And the reason is because of these things, the Mark 8 Torpedo. Now, do we know of a big factory right near a railway line nearby that's not being used where we could overhaul these things? Ha, you bet it, right here. This was the US Navy Torpedo Depot from up to about 1947. Interesting, watching the list of things they had to do. They had to add various things which you would expect, but if you look at the list, one of the things they had to add was toilets. Are you kidding me? We were building Benedict Stone there all these years with no dunnies? Oh, wow. The Americans must have thought they'd beamed into another planet when they came here. Anyway, they were here till 1945, but where are you going to store these things? Well, you can't keep them there. There's houses everywhere around there. There's 200 torpedoes. You'd flatten half a New Farm. Guess where they stored it? Well, Mount Cootha, of course. This is where JC Slaughter falls. We gave them this for as long as they needed it to keep these. The torpedoes and mines were stored here. Further up in the bush, there were underground bunkers to store the fuses. And that's what it looked like then. This is what it looks like now. Beautiful place. Go there for a picnic, have a wander around. But when you walk at the end of the road, you'll see a picnic table that's sitting on a pretty decent concrete slab that's about a foot thick, because that's one of the slabs of the Quonset huts from the torpedo store. Well, folks, when you're doing this research, you come across stories that have to be told. This is the USS Growler. This is an American submarine. This is after it rammed a Japanese patrol boat. Rammed it. And on the deck was its skipper and its XO. They were both hit with machine gun fire, and he ordered the ship to submerge with him on the deck to save the lives of his crew. Now, his name was Commander Howard W. Gilmore. And, yeah, he was a hero, of course. So they decided to name a submarine tender after him, and this is it here. So an awesome guy, and that photo you saw was taken in Brisbane. It came here to be repaired. We repaired it at the New Farm submarine docks, which is really amazing, really. Unfortunately, later in the Philippines, the boat was lost with all hands during action, so didn't have a happy ending. But don't forget, these American farm boys gave their lives so that we didn't have to speak Japanese unless we wanted to. I'll certainly never forget it. Well folks, here we are again out on the trail. We're in Bowen Hills this time, walking along the side of, well, it's probably Abbotsford Road. And this used to be the old Bowen Hills railway station down below us. We're going to have a look at that in a minute. And we're going down to find the old Torpedo factory. No, that's not a strip club. It's actually a place, so hang in there. We'll give it a go. Well, as you can see folks, it's a block of units where the Torpedo factory used to be and where the Benedict Stone factory used to be, but you can see where it is right there. Those units are the right shape. And that little warehouse is actually built on that triangle of land we saw in the maps. And where that yellow wall is where the spur line used to go off. And Bowen Hill Station was just up from here, the old Bowen Hill Station. Well, here we are folks, we're on the corner of Light and Prospect Street in Fortitude Valley. And everything you see over my shoulder behind me here was the Benedict Stone factory, and during World War II, the Torpedo overhaul factory, which we'll talk more about in a second. So we're just walking through Light Street. The Light Street bus depot when I was younger was just down behind me. But way before then, this was the site of Archbishop Duhig's Benedict Stone factory. And we're going to have a look, see what we can see that remains of it. I don't think much. But let's have a go anyway. Here's Rosetta Street, which is exactly where it was. Let's give it a go. I'll spin you around. Right, let's go down Rosetta Street, see what we can see. I guarantee you we will find this old house in the photos from the 1920s. Mark my words, we'll find it. Okay, the house was behind the factory, but that's definitely the chimney. Gotcha! Oh gee, I know, here we are in Prospect Street. And it's been said that the Benedict Stone Company quarried tuff here. Well, they might have quarried tuff, but it wasn't here. Because this is 50 metres from where they were. And all us geonerds know that is Narrenly Fernvale Shale, argillitic shale. It's definitely not tuff. Anyway, we'll continue on. Well, fellas, the gentrification and destruction of that end of the valley is pretty complete. There's really nothing left to see. I had a good look. Here's our old mate, Sir Duhigg, putting in the foundation stone for the Holy Name Cathedral. And here he is again. Now, the reason I come back to him is that after all of this was in the 1940s, this is the 1950s now, he never paid the architects that designed the cathedral. And they'd spent, as you can imagine, a lot of time and money. So they sued him. They took him to court, to the Queensland Full Court of Appeal, and he lost. And he had to pay Jack Hennessy, the architects, £25,000. So that is a crap load of money. And he had it. you know, a man of the people, Mr. Dewhig, with 2 knighthoods, 25 grand he could just pay. Should have paid it anyway, but anyway, I digress. So I hope you enjoyed this, Geo Nerds. I certainly did. Researching this was a lot of fun. That story about the growler brings tears to your eyes. What those men went through for us. They weren't protecting America. They were protecting us. Anyway, more stuff coming up soon. I'll put a few shorts up out of this. I've also been publishing my shorts over onto TikTok. I don't know why yet, but it gets a lot of views. No idea why. Just seems to be the thing to do. So if you see more stuff go past on TikTok, give it a like. I don't know why, it doesn't do anything, but anyway, I do have my TikTok link to my YouTube channel, and I've had a few people come over, so it's a bit of fun. Anyway, until next time, keep rocking. T-Rock's out.